What is up, everybody? JT Dangerously. Once again, I am back for my Week 13 NFL predictions. Now, Week 12 just ended with the Baltimore Ravens knocking off the Houston Texans on Monday Night Football. So our record finishing up a pretty solid Week 12 is 9-7. So pretty happy at that. I'm pretty happy at a 9-7 record. It's another winning week in NFL predictions on this channel, so I'm very happy on that. We're on a 6-week winning streak since our last losing streak, which was in Week 6. And hopefully in this video, we'll make it lucky number 7. Now, before I begin, I do want to thank you guys so very much for watching all the videos up until this point, especially last week's NFL predictions. You guys, as always, on my channel, blow up these NFL predictions again. Thank you guys so very much. We had over 550 plus views on that video. You guys super kicked that like button 13 times, and we had over 39 plus comments from you, fantastic NFL football fans, representing your teams in the comments section, putting your picks in the comments section, and as always, putting your opinions out there on everything that is the NFL season. So I do want to thank you guys so very much for doing that, and hopefully in this video you guys will do the same by showing your love by watching the video, super kicking that like button, and representing your team, your picks, and your opinions in the comments section down below. Now, again, I do want to thank you guys so very much for a fantastic November on the channel. Again, you made November so much fun for me to do this year. I hope you guys had a very happy Thanksgiving with your friends and family. Of course, if you have not checked out my Week 14 college football predictions, definitely go check that out. If you have not, because it's all about championship week in college football, and it's the final week of the season, and we go into the college football bowls and the college football playoffs. So if you have not checked out my Week 14 college football predictions yet, definitely go check that video out. Now, we are at 250 plus subscribers now on the channel, so I do want to thank you guys so very much for supporting the channel. To new subscribers, thank you guys for super kicking that subscribe button, and welcome to the Dangerous Lions. It is great to have you guys here. And to my longtime subscribers, thank you guys for sticking around, supporting the channel, and as always, killing it. Now, this is your first time watching my channel as a first-time viewer, and this is your first video. Boy, you picked a good one if you're an NFL football fan like myself. Welcome to the Dangerous Lions. I am JT Dangerously, and welcome to the club, because this club is just to... Whoop, whoop. Again, thank you guys so very much. Now, other than that, let's get right into these Week 13 NFL predictions. Now, let's start off with the first matchup. It is on Thursday Night Football. It is an NFC East rivalry showdown featuring the Washington Redskins heading to the Jerry Dome to face the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Washington Redskins are coming off a big win at home on Thanksgiving over the New York Giants. Kirk Cousins had a big-time game. Spencer P. Wright had a big-time game on the ground with over 100 yards. And the Redskins are clinging to a chance in the NFC East, but it's hard to catch up with the Eagles. But they're looking to knock off their NFC East rivals. Then on the other side, you have the Dallas Cowboys who are coming off a blowout loss to the Los Angeles Chargers at home on Thanksgiving. The wheels have fallen off the Dallas Cowboys this year, and they are on life support right now because they had no Sean Lee in that game, and they still have no Zeke. If one, it's like a building. They are the pillars of Dallas. If any of those players are not playing, the building falls down, and I think that's what's happening to the Cowboys. The building is collapsed. It's not recoverable, and it's just not looking good for the Cowboys right now. And if they lose this game, then the Eagles are going to finish up this East in only Week 13. So again, Dallas Cowboys are looking for a win by any means, and it's not going to be easy this week. So coming from me in this matchup on Thursday Night Football, again, Dallas they need Zeke, because you can see this team is not the same without Zeke, the Freak, or Sean Lee. So coming from me in this matchup, I am taking the Washington Redskins to defeat the Dallas Cowboys. And now the Sunday slate, starting off with a very good NFC showdown featuring the Minnesota Vikings heading to the Georgia Dome to face the Dirty Birds, the Atlanta Falcons. Now the Minnesota Vikings are coming off a big win on the road on Thanksgiving over the Detroit Lions. Case Keenum, again, fantastic game on Thursday. He had a big-time game. Adam Thielen had a big-time game for the Vikings. Latavius Murray is definitely taking up where Dalvin Cook left off in their running game, and their defense is still keeping them in it, and they're keeping a stronghold in the NFC North. But to say that Case Keenum's having a great year, I mean, I watched him at Houston when he was in that undefeated when Houston was undefeated in college. He's a great quarterback, and I'm very happy that he's getting this opportunity and he is winning. So I'm very happy for him and this Minnesota Vikings team. Then on the other side, the Atlanta Falcons are coming off a big win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday, and Julio Jones went off in this game, especially he had over 200 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. He even got a touchdown from his wide receiver Mohamed Sanu, who got a touchdown to Julio Jones. And if you had him on fantasy, boy, I would not be surprised you won your matchup against your opponent if you had Julio Jones in your lineup. But they definitely looked good. Matty Ice had a pretty solid game. Devontae Freeman did not play in this game for the second week in a row because of a concussion. So Devin Coleman took over the running game, and he got it done for the Falcons. So coming from me in this huge NFC showdown, again, this Minnesota Vikings team is really good, and I'm just so happy for Case Keenum. So coming from me in this matchup, I am taking the Minnesota Vikings to defeat the Atlanta Falcons. And now the next matchup, an AFC South showdown featuring the Houston Texans heading to Nashville to face the Tennessee Titans. Now, the Houston Texans are coming off a very tough loss tonight on Monday Night Football over Baltimore. Baltimore's defense just took over that game, and somewhat of their offense got it done to beat Houston tonight on Monday Night Football. And Will Fuller did not play for the Houston Texans, and DeAndre Hopkins just did not have a big-time game, and neither did Top Savage. So they're looking to get back on track against an AFC South rival. Then on the other side, you have the Tennessee Titans are coming off a big win over the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday. They did not have their best game. Marcus Mariota did have 2 picks, but he did have a big game from his tight end and clutch tight end in fantasy, Delaney Walker. DeMarco Murray had a big time touchdown in that game, and their defense definitely stifled Jacoby Brissett and the Colts. So coming from me in this matchup, man, this one's tough. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans to defeat the Tennessee Titans in a close matchup. And now the next matchup. It is the Kansas City Chiefs heading to East Rutherford to face the New York Jets. Now the Kansas City Chiefs are coming off another loss on Sunday over the Buffalo Bills at home. The Wheels, another team that the wheels have just fallen off. This team was so good in the first half of the season, but they have just been shit this second half of the season. And coming from me again, this team was all about just running the ball, just playing it safe. But now they're just doing all these trick plays. It's not going to work, Chiefs. Just go back to the fundamentals of what made you guys really good in the first half of the season and turning into this rest of the second half of the season. Because if you guys continue like this, you guys are going to get beat by the Los Angeles Chargers in the AFC West. They are really in trouble right now. And again, I've heard so many stuff saying, oh, why don't they just start Patrick Mahomes the second? I think they should just stick with Alex Smith. But again, if he falters, I don't see any other choice but to just put that Patrick Mahomes the second in and see what he's got. But the Chiefs definitely need to wake the fuck up and get back to the fundamentals of what made them good in the first half of the season. Then on the other side, you have the New York Jets, who are coming off a big loss over the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. They had that game, but they just fell a little bit short. Josh McCown had a pretty good game. I forget who their wide receivers who had a pretty solid game. I can't remember the guy's name, but he had 2 touchdowns in that game. Let me know if you're a Jets fan, if the wide receiver who I'm talking about. But the Jets did look good even in a loss. So coming from me in this matchup, this one's tough. I'm going to take the Jets to defeat the Kansas City Chiefs. And now the next matchup, an NFC South battle featuring the Carolina Panthers heading to the Superdome to face the New Orleans Saints. Now the Carolina Panthers are coming off a big win over that said New York Jets team on Sunday. Cam Newton did get his tight end back, Greg Olsen. He did have a pretty okay game, but he did injure his foot, so I don't know if he re-aggravated that broken foot. But now I think Cam Newton has his Kelvin Benjamin and Devin Funchess. Now, I watched Devin Funchess at Michigan. fantastic wide receiver. He had over 100 yards in this game. Christian McCaffrey had a big-time game, and Luke Kuechly had a fumble recovery touchdown for their defense. But Carolina is definitely surging right now, and maybe another dangerous team in this wild and crazy NFC playoff picture. Then on the other side of the New Orleans Saints are coming off a very tough loss to a very good Los Angeles Rams team on Sunday. There was no vintage Breeze in this game. They just got handled by the Rams. Penalties killed them. Kamara did have a touchdown, but again, it was just not enough against that very talented Los Angeles Rams defense. So coming from me in this matchup, this one's going to be good. Cam Newton versus Drew Brees. Carolina's defense against Kamara and Mark Ingram. You got Funches against Michael Thomas. This is going to be a really good NFC South showdown to see who will be on top of the NFC South. So coming from me in this matchup, I am taking the Carolina Panthers to upset the New Orleans Saints. And now the next matchup. It is the Denver Broncos heading to Hard Rock Stadium to face the Miami Dolphins. Now the Denver Broncos are coming off a very tough loss to the Oakland Raiders on Sunday. Again, they started Paxton Lynch. He did okay, but he got hurt, so they went back to Trevor Siemian, and Trevor Siemian nearly brought him back, but he just fell short, and the Denver Broncos are just not having their best season this season, and this is a lost season for sure, so they're going to just play spoiler however they can in the AFC. Then on the other side, you have the Miami Dolphins are coming off a loss to my New England Patriots on Sunday. Matt Moore did start, which I was happy to see because I'd rather see Matt Moore start than that gutless, that loser Jay Cutler, because hopefully he won't play in that game. But they just did not look good against my Patriots. Again, this is I wouldn't say this is a lost season for the Miami Dolphins, but again, they are definitely missing Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. But again, I have faith in the Dolphins as long as they stick with Matt Moore. If they put that loser Jay Cutler, I can't really trust them. So coming from me in this matchup, I'm going to take Matt Moore and the Miami Dolphins to defeat the Denver Broncos. Fins up. And now the next matchup. It is the Detroit Lions heading to Baltimore to face the Baltimore Ravens. Now the Detroit Lions are coming off a very tough loss at home on Thanksgiving against a very good Minnesota Vikings team. Matthew Stafford did not have his best game. Minnesota's defense definitely took that game over for them. Took that game over against Detroit, and they're looking to get back on track in that very competitive NFC North. Then on the other side, you have the Baltimore Ravens are coming off another big-time win on Monday Night Football over the Houston Texans. They looked good even though they have the worst offense, but their defense definitely kept them in the game as always because that's vintage Baltimore Ravens teams. Shitty offense, pretty damn good defense, and they're looking to knock off another talented NFC team. So coming from me in this matchup, I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions to defeat the Baltimore Ravens. And now the next matchup. It is my favorite team, my New England Patriots, heading to Orchard Park to face the Buffalo Bills. Now, my Patriots are coming off a big win over the Miami Dolphins on Sunday. Of course, Sunday was my 28th birthday, so I'm very happy that one of my teams got me a birthday win. So thank you, Patriots, for that. But Tom Brady had another big-time game with over four touchdowns. He did have a fumble loss, which wasn't his fault. Rob Gronkowski had 2 big-time touchdowns. Brandon Cooks had another big-time touchdown. I still think that was the best sign we ever had in New England, was Brandon Cooks from New Orleans. Rex Burkhead did have a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown, and their defense is stepping up at the right time, and they are riding high in the AFC East. Then on the other side, you have the Buffalo Bills who are coming off a big win on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs. Tyrod Taylor had a big-time game, and let's just hope they stick with Tyrod Taylor from now on, other than sticking with what happened at the Chargers game last week. But he did have a good game. Shady McCoy had a big-time game, and their defense definitely woke up against a very slumping Kansas City Chiefs team. So coming from me in this matchup, I'm going to go with my New England Patriots to defeat the Buffalo Bills in a very close matchup. And now the next matchup. It is the San Francisco 49ers heading to Soldier Field to face the Chicago Bears. Now the San Francisco 49ers are coming off a very tough loss at home against my Seattle Seahawks on Sunday. But we got to see the guy that they got from my New England Patriots, Jimmy Garoppolo, in that game late, because C.J. Bethel did get hurt late in that game in the couple seconds of the end of the game. But we got to see Jimmy Garoppolo, and what do you know? He throws a touchdown on the final play of the game. So happy to see Jimmy Garoppolo get on the field finally, and he got a touchdown for the 49ers. So I can say it right now, 49ers fans, I think you're in good hands with Jimmy Garoppolo as your starter. C.J. Bethel is a great starter, but I think your future is Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm happy that they even though that injury was bad for C.J. Bethel, we got to see what Jimmy Garoppolo is all about. So I'm happy for him and the 49ers. Then on the other side, the Chicago Bears are coming off just a trouncing by the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday. They just did not look good. Mitchell Trubisky just, again, first year, he's going to have that shitty season, just like Jared Goff with the Rams last season. But I have a good feeling with what happens in the offseason. They pick up some weapons for him. Mitchell Trubisky will have a much better sophomore season next season. So coming from me in this matchup, I am taking the San Francisco 49ers to defeat the Chicago Bears. And now the next matchup, it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to Lambeau to face the Green Bay Packers. Now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are coming off a very tough loss on the road to the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday. Fitzpatrick did not have his best game. Again, this is a very lost season for the Buccaneers. Unfortunately, I did not expect them to have a shitty season this season, but you go 2 steps forward, and then this season you go 2 steps back. And again, we don't know if Jameis Winston is going to be in this game, but coming from me, it's a lost season. Keep them out and have them ready for 2018, and maybe they'll rebound. But Fitzpatrick did have an okay game, and even in a loss. Then on the other side, the Green Bay Packers are coming off a very tough loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football, but Brett Hundley looked good in that game. Maybe Brett Hundley's best game since his UCLA days in college, but he had a big-time game. Devontae Adams had a big game with him. It looks like Brett Hundley and Devontae Adams are starting to gel now in Lambeau, other than him and Cobb or him and Jordy, so that's good to see. But just fell short against a very good Pittsburgh Steelers team. So coming from me in this matchup, I am taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to upset the Green Bay Packers on the road. And now the next matchup, it is the Indianapolis Colts heading to Jacksonville to face the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now both teams are coming off losses on Sunday. Indianapolis is coming off a very tough loss to an AFC South rival, Tennessee. Jacoby Brissett did have a pretty okay game even in a loss, but they just fell short late in the fourth. Frank the Tank had a big-time touchdown. Frank Gore. Their defense did get to Marcus Mariota twice with 2 picks. But this Colts team again is just trying to finish up the season and then go into next season with Andrew Luck back and healthy. Then on the other side, the Jacksonville Jaguars are also coming into this game after a loss to the Arizona Cardinals by a last-second field goal. But Jacksonville again is getting better and better. Best defense right now, most picks with this Jacksonville Jaguars team. I mean, they just have such a perfect team on defense. Blake Bortles continues what he's doing. They're going to continue to win. Leonard Fournette keeps getting those 100 yards. They're going to continue to win. So coming from me in this matchup, I am taking the Jacksonville Jaguars to defeat the Indianapolis Colts. And now the next matchup. It is the winless Cleveland Browns heading to Los Angeles to face the Los Angeles Chargers. Now the winless Browns are coming off another loss to the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. They looked good early, but they just fell short once again, and they're coming in 0-11. DeShone Kizer did have a pretty solid game in that game. He did have a concussion. They put Cody Kessler in, and then DeShone Kizer came back. He did get a rushing touchdown, or I like to call the Kizer roll. But Cleveland, again, this is the first year for DeShone Kizer. He's going to have struggles just like Mitchell Trubisky in Chicago. So hopefully they will add some pieces to this team. Again, they have the number 1 draft pick, Myles Garrett, who did have a sack in that game. So as long as they get more pieces on that team, Cleveland will get a lot better next season. But this is a lost season for them this year. Then on the other side of the Los Angeles Chargers coming off a blowout win over the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday on Thanksgiving. Philip Rivers had a fantastic game with over 400 yards. Keenan Allen had a big-time game, and their defense just smothered Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. So coming from me in this matchup, now do I see Cleveland winning their first game of the season? not yet. So coming from me in this matchup, I am taking the Los Angeles Chargers to defeat the winless Browns. And now the next matchup, it is the New York Giants heading to the black hole to face the Oakland Raiders. Now the New York Giants are coming off a very tough loss to the Washington Redskins on Thursday Night Football on Thanksgiving against the Redskins. Again, another team that's on a lost season. Eli Manning's just not having his best year. He has no weapons other than his running game, and that's maybe the only thing he's got. Ben McAdoo's going to be lucky he's going to stay there at Gotham in New York, but again, it's just not a winning year for the New York Giants. And to say that the Jets are a lot better than the Giants this season is not far-fetched. Then on the other side of the Oakland Raiders are coming off a big win over the Denver Broncos at home. Derek Carr definitely woke up in that game. Marshawn Lynch had maybe his best game as an Oakland Raider. Even though it wasn't 100 yards, you can see that speed and the speed of beast mode coming back. The feet were moving, so that was good. And Michael Crabtree also got ejected from that game, so we don't know if he's going to be playing in this game for the Raiders because he was in a punching fight with one of the Denver Broncos. So again, they still have Amari Cooper, they still have Jared Cook, but they're not going to have their clutch wide receiver in Michael Crabtree, maybe. So coming from me in this matchup, I am taking the Oakland Raiders to continue the New York Giants' woes and beat the New York Giants. And now the next matchup, it is an NFC West showdown featuring the Los Angeles Rams heading to Glendale to face the Arizona Cardinals. Now the Los Angeles Rams are coming off a huge win on Sunday over a very good and 8-game winning streak. New Orleans Saints on Sunday. They looked good. Jared Goff had another big-time game, and they are definitely the talk in the NFC West right now. Todd Gurley had a pretty okay game. Robert Woods is not going to be able to play for them for a couple weeks with a shoulder injury. Cooper Kupp had nearly 100 yards, and their defense stifled Drew Brees and the Saints on Sunday. And they're looking to continue the winning ways in the NFC West. Then on the other side, you have the Arizona Cardinals are coming off a big win at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars, thanks to the old veteran Phil Dawson with his clutch field goal to win the game for the Cardinals. Blaine Gabbert is definitely doing a good job being the quarterback until Carson Palmer comes back with his broken hand. But again, I'm happy Blaine Gabbert is getting he's getting these big time wins because again, I watched him at Missouri, great quarterback. So I'm happy to see guys like him and Case Keenum finally get big time wins with their team. So coming from me in this matchup in a big time NFC West showdown, I am going to take the red hot Los Angeles Rams to defeat the Arizona Cardinals. And now the Sunday night matchup, and this one's going to be a really good one. It's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles heading to CenturyLink Field to face my second favorite team, my Seattle Seahawks. Now the Philadelphia Eagles are coming off a big time blowout win over the Chicago Bears on Sunday. Carson Wentz, another big time game. Jay Ajayi did have a pretty okay game. LeGarrette Blount, another big time game. Alshon Jeffrey, pretty good game. And Nelson Aguilar had 2 touchdowns. Now, I heard so much hate for this kid last season with the Eagles about Nelson Aguilar can't catch, can't do anything. I watched the kid at USC. This kid's good, and I'm happy that he's getting the opportunity to show that he is a great wide receiver at Philadelphia. This Philadelphia team is definitely a good team, but again, until they prove it to me in the playoffs, this is just they're gonna have big time wins every week. But until they prove it in the playoffs, they haven't proven it to me yet. Until they get to the playoffs and win some games and maybe get to the NFC Championship, then I'll have a little bit more good things to say about the Eagles. Other than they're just blowing out teams every week. Then on the other side, you have my Seattle Seahawks are coming off a big win on Sunday, of course, on my birthday, over the San Francisco 49ers. So 2 of my favorite teams got me birthday wins this week, so I'm very happy for that. Russell Wilson had a pretty solid game. Jimmy Graham's had a good game. The running game's still not there. The Legion of Boom, again, without Richard Sherman and without a few other players, definitely they still have the boom, but it's very not as much as it was before those injuries. So, but they looked good against a very not so good 49ers team, but they're definitely in the hunt in the NFC wild card. So coming from me in this matchup on Thursday Night Football, this one's tough. I'm gonna take the Philadelphia Eagles to defeat my Seattle Seahawks. And now the Sunday night matchup. It is an AFC North battle featuring the Pittsburgh Steelers heading to Cincinnati to face the Cincinnati Bengals. Now the Pittsburgh Steelers are coming off a big win over a very good Green Bay Packers team on Sunday Night Football. Ben Roethlisberger did have a pretty solid game with 4 touchdowns, but he also got picked twice. Le'Veon Bell did have a fumble loss in that game. Antonio Brown got it done. Juju Smith-Schuster did not play in that game against the Packers. And the defense, again, T.J. Watt had a big-time game again. He is just like his brother J.J. And the Steelers' defense is just continuing to dominate. And coming from me, I think it's going to be Patriots-Steelers again in the AFC Championship. But that's just me thinking that, because it's almost a foregone conclusion, because these are the 2 best teams in the AFC right now. Then on the other side, the Cincinnati Bengals are coming off a big win over the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. Joe Mixon out of Oklahoma had a big-time game in receiving yards and rushing yards. Andy Dalton had a pretty solid game. Croft had a touchdown. Tyler Boyd also had a touchdown. A.J. Green had a pretty solid touchdown. They're looking to knock off their the AFC North rivals. So coming from me in this matchup, I am taking the Pittsburgh Steelers to defeat the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday Night Football. And those are my Week 13 NFL predictions. Now, I do want to thank you guys so very much for watching. Comment below, who do you have winning all the matchups in Week 13? As always, represent your team in the comments. Put up your picks in the comments. And as always, comment your opinions below. Let us have a conversation about it. Of course, I'm always on to see your comment, like it, and of course, reply right back to you. Comments are absolutely always welcome on this channel. Now, I do want to thank you guys so very much for watching this week's NFL predictions on the channel. Now, before you go, you can never forget to do this. That like button, comment, share with your friends. Of course, super kick that like button like only you guys can. Of course, you can never forget to do this as well. That subscribe button, become part of this bigger and dangerous lines. And I will see you guys in the month of December for some even more big videos. Later days and peace.